What if your reality isn't something you experience, but something you construct? That's a thought that really makes you pause, doesn't it? I mean, if you've ever, found yourself scrolling on your phone, suddenly realizing 30 minutes just vanished, or feeling scattered and just wishing you had more control over your mindset, then this deep dive is definitely for you. We've pulled together some fascinating sources that really unpack how your attention, how you interpret things, even your subconscious beliefs, how they're all actively shaping the reality you live in day to day. So our mission today is to guide you through some frankly surprising facts and insights. We want to help you understand how you might gain a bit more agency over your own experience. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We live in this age of, endless distraction, right? And our sources really highlight that your attention isn't just another mental function. It's your most valuable and honestly most besieged resource. They introduce this idea, attention capital theory, suggesting that focused awareness is actually the very currency of cognition itself. Sounds pretty profound, but what does that really mean for us, practically?
Well, what's fascinating here is that modern neuroscience is actually confirming what, ancient wisdom traditions always seem to know. What we really attend to, that's what grows in our experience. And this isn't just about productivity, though that's part of it. Our sources show that deep insight often emerges when our unconscious processing has been primed by that earlier focused attention. Think of someone like Henri Poincaré, the mathematician, having breakthroughs during walks after intense periods of concentration. So the question is, how do we harness this? Well, the research points towards practical things like attention scaffolding, which is basically consciously structuring your environment, your routines to support sustained focus. Or using cognitive time travel, that's intentionally visualizing future outcomes to sort of prime your mind. These aren't just little mental tricks. They show how deliberately shaping your inner world is actually a profound act of self-respect. Simone Weil observed something like that.
All right, so it's not just what we focus on, but how we manage this attention. As a finite resource, it sounds powerful, but also maybe a bit overwhelming, like managing another budget, almost. And this brings us to a really interesting point. Our sources flag, they call it the agency paradox. Okay, so the brain is incredibly adaptable. We know that. And things like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, they boast a really high success rate for anxiety, right? Like 75%. Yet simple willpower so often fails us, especially when you consider the research showing that 40 to 50% of our daily thought is purely habitual, just automatic. So if sheer willpower isn't the answer, how do we truly gain agency over these ingrained patterns?
Yeah, that raises a really important question. And the solution isn't brute force. It's not trying to wrestle control of every single thought. It's much more about working with your mind's natural wiring. B.J. Fogg's research, for example, it highlights how tiny context-triggered habits, things like, after I brush my teeth, I will visualize success for 1 minute, that kind of thing. These consistently outperform those grand motivation-heavy efforts. So the key, really, is designing your environment and your daily triggers so that better thinking and the behaviors you want emerge more naturally, almost effortlessly.
That makes so much sense, making the desired behavior almost frictionless.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting gears just a little, what does all this mean for how we actually perceive the world around us? Our sources reveal something deeper here. We don't actually experience reality directly. Not really. It's more like we experience it through these intricate layers of interpretation. The brain is literally acting as a prediction engine.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, predictive processing theory illustrates this beautifully, this see before you see mechanism. It explains why two people can witness the exact same event, truly, but genuinely experience and live out different truths. It all depends on their internal models, their predictions. Viktor Frankl's famous epiphany in the concentration camp, that the last of human freedoms is choosing one's attitude. That wasn't just, philosophy. We now understand it as observable neuropsychology. It's a testament to this incredible interpretive power we have.
Wow. And these interpretations, these layers, they rest on even deeper foundations, don't they? Our sources call these mindsets the load-bearing walls of cognition. That's a great phrase. They distinguish them from mere attitudes, which are maybe more like wallpaper.
Yeah.
Easy to change. Can you give us a clear example of this fundamental difference between a mindset and an attitude?
Absolutely. It's a crucial distinction. So consider how a student with a growth mindset views a poor grade. They see it primarily as feedback, right? An opportunity to learn, figure out what is wrong, and improve. But a peer with a fixed mindset might see that exact same grade as condemnation, as proof of their inherent lack of ability. It's not just a fleeting feeling like an attitude. It's a fundamental difference in how they frame the challenge, the world, themselves. And here's where it gets even more foundational. Beneath those mindsets lies what our sources call our mentality. Think of this as the brain's invisible code base. It's the deep-seated, often totally unconscious programming written by all your life experiences. It shapes your most basic assumptions about yourself, about how the world works. And precisely because it's so invisible, operating in the background, it can lead to some surprising blind spots. Like that classic finding that something like a quarter of drivers genuinely believe they're in the top 1% of driving skill.
That's fascinating. And a bit humbling, actually. But this deep-seated code base, this mentality, is it fixed? Or can we actually rewrite it, update the software?
This is where the ultimate empowerment really lies, according to these sources. For example, a 2023 Nature study showed that even quite brief exposure to opposing viewpoints can actually disrupt confirmation bias. It's almost like forcing a system reboot for your biases. And Julia Galef's concept of a scout mindset, that deep curiosity that genuinely prizes accurate understanding over just defending your own ego or being right. That's presented as a key, maybe the key to rewriting this deeper code. So the profound takeaway here really is that while you didn't choose your initial programming, you absolutely hold the admin privileges to update it.
You hold the admin privileges to update your own mind's programming. That is a truly empowering idea. But just plain devil's advocate for a moment, for listeners who might feel really stuck in long-standing patterns, is this rewriting process actually accessible? Or does it take some kind of monumental effort?
No, I think it's absolutely accessible. That's the hopeful message. It really starts with awareness, just noticing. And then, like we discussed with habits, it's about small, consistent shifts. It's not usually about grand, overnight transformations. It's more like nudging that invisible code, maybe one line at a time.
Okay, that feels more manageable. So for you, our listener, maybe here's a thought to take with you from this deep dive. This week, just try noticing where your attention goes. Just observe it without judgment. And maybe ask yourself, is this building the reality I truly want?
Remember, the truest freedom perhaps isn't the complete absence of distraction, because that's maybe unrealistic. But it might be the sovereign choice of where you invest your mind.